Hi, my name is Heather Anderson, and I am a doTERRA wellness advocate, and we have been using essential oils for 9 years in our home. So we love them, we have been empowered by them, and they are part of our daily life. So something that we love is herbs and plants and the fruits of the earth. And we have these bodies, and the earth fully supports us, right? It grows and creates all the things that we need to sustain life. And many of the plants have protective properties that have defense mechanisms, keeping bugs away and things like that. And those work for good in our body as well. So I love the doTERRA Latin name is Gifts of the Earth. So isn't that beautiful? I love that. And when you look anciently, that's what they had. They had the roots and the herbs and the plants. They did not have the synthetic petroleum-based medicines that we have today. And there's definitely a place for those, right? But I wanted to share with you today, we have our Life Essential book, which is a wonderful, wonderful resource for knowing how to use the oils and just becoming a little bit of an oil ninja. But sometimes we run into situations when an oil that we have suggested or given is not quite giving us the results that we would like. So on page 22 at the very beginning of this book, I highly recommend reading it, but it says what to do when an oil doesn't seem to be working. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to go over with and share with you to have in mind and keep in consideration as you are sharing your oils and trying them on yourself and your family. So we have 3 application methods with doTERRA because of the purity of the oil. This is very important. I would not suggest internalizing any other oils. The testing is, so important. And we know that doTERRA has 35 some odd tests per bottle. So safe for consumption on the oils that have the FDA internal use label. So internal, topical, and aromatic. So 3 different ways that they can be used. And oftentimes, if I have something that is a little bit more like, boom, I want to just, jump on it, I'll sandwich it and I will do topical and internal, right? So maybe you want to triple layer it and put on a diffuser as well. So we've got those 3 different application methods. So something that's really, really important that people don't think about is the frequency of use. So what do you think would work best? If I took 10 drops of oil 1 time a day, or if I did 2 drops of oil and did it every 30 minutes to an hour? The second one, that's the best one, right? Your body can only take in so much at one time, and then after that, you're just wasting it, right? Because the body can't use that much. So to be able to get consistent relief is going to be the way to go. So smaller amounts, less is more, right? Smaller amounts, 1 drop of peppermint is equal to 28 glasses of peppermint tea. So recognize the power. I know it's little, but it can do amazing things, right? So that's going to be huge. So if it's something acute, you want repeated use. If you got food poisoning, right? Like I'm in pain right now in my knee, then you're going to want some repeated use. Okay. But if you have chronic or long lasting issues, then you can maybe do 2 to 4 times a day. So you're just going to have to play around with it. And every person has a different body, chemistry, makeup, and health issues, right? So something that works for one person may not work for another, which brings up another point that, when we look in the book or an oil that we might typically recommend, that is typical for, digestive issues or whatever it might be, is going to work 80% of the time. But you are going to have a small part of the time that it's not going to work. And here's why. It's not because oils don't work. It's because we're either using the wrong oil in the wrong place, or we haven't thought about a deeper underlying issue. So for example, somebody might really struggle with sleep. So we give them some of our typical, oils or supplements for sleep, and they're like, it's not doing anything for me. When really they had some underlying issues with anxiety or depression. And when treating that, then they can have results with the sleep, or they have some hormone issues going on. And when we help take care of that, then we can have better results with the sleep. Or another example is maybe somebody has some digestive issues. So we suggest the typical digestive oils and there's no result, when really the underlying issue was the gallbladder. And so some geranium and maybe some Zendocrine, maybe a little bit of grapefruit is going to help take care of those digestive issues because it was stemming from a gallbladder, right? So you don't have to be a doctor. There are some times that I will go and Google a health concern to say, hey, what are we really looking at, right? And as I get reading, it says, oh, it's because of inflammation of the whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, I might not know the disease, but I do know some great oils for inflammation. Let's try these couple of oils, right? And as we share, we just ask for just the same as what happens when somebody goes to the doctor, right? That, hey, it's going to take a little bit. Let's see what works for you. Let's see what dose works for you. And there's that time of kind of figuring it out and kind of going through what works and what's not working. So, another thing, as you know, if you have attended a doTERRA class, is quality. Quality is everything. I mentioned it just a little bit earlier. The purity is a huge deal. And when you have got middlemen that want to extend their oils, you know, they might add some lemongrass to their Melissa. Now, if anyone's bought either one of those, you know that lemongrass is $10 and Melissa is $105. Right? So if you've got that kind of going on, then someone's going to get different results. Like Melissa is powerful and expensive for a reason, right? And so we want that pure oil. So doTERRA, you've got the best quality that you're going to find in the world. I truly, truly believe. So body health. Guys, this is kind of shocking, but it really, really matters. So I really love the example that it gave in the book. So most people don't realize that the essential oils work chemically in the body. So they come into the body like outside management, assessing like what needs to be done and what needs to go where and what's missing. And then they come to report, and imagine if no one was in the office, like no one's here. That's kind of what happens when you have a really nutrient deficient body. Is the nutrition is what is going to help carry out the instructions in the body. So having good nutrition, and if somebody doesn't, maybe suggesting some of that. And of course, our lifelong vitality. Absolutely such a strong tool for bringing in that nutrition and then helping those instructions of the essential oils be carried out even better. So a couple other things like that you might look at if you're like, hey, these aren't really working. We've talked about application method, topical, aromatic, or internal, right? So, and I love internal is just going to go through a different process in the body. We have soft gels in several of our products, or you can always get an empty capsule and you can open that right up, put the drops in that you need and take that internal. So it's going to last about 2 hours in the body that way. So it lasts a little bit longer. So I like it going through that part of the system, but then topically right where the pain or the problem or the issue is. So we've talked about application. We talked about frequency of use and paying attention to that. We talked about quality, right? We also talked about having that body health. And also, you know, selecting an oil. Let's talk about that last. So you're going to choose an oil. Oftentimes you're going to go to resources, and we have a lot of resources. We have the teeny little books like this one and the A to Z guide. We have the Essential Life book, which is just an amazing resource. I feel like everyone should have it when you're looking up different physical issues, and you can look up and find recipes. You can go learn more about the body systems. Like, it's just an incredible resource. Also, we have the Essential Emotions book if you're dealing something, you know, with core emotions. And a lot of our physical issues come from stress. Stress is an emotion. So let's give them an oil for that, right? And kind of take down some of that. So it really is a valid place to look at. You can look online, right? You could choose it by smell. Like when you smell it and you're kind of gravitating towards it, it's probably a sign that your body could really use it, that it needs it, right? Something else that I want to leave you on that is so powerful is your intuition. Your body knows what it needs, right? And just trusting ourselves to just select what we feel or what might come to mind and not second guess that. Our intuition is very powerful that way. So you have your typical oils that are going to go for typical systems, but get comfortable with the book, right? The more you know, and then you try it, you're like, oh, this oil worked for this. I'm never going to forget that again. So I'm going to leave you with a story. My little boy, he was probably maybe like 3 and he got croup. He was not feeling well. He was, started to not breathe good. And of course it's in the middle of the night, right? And I had been using Breathe on his chest. It wasn't getting better. And I thought, what is going on? I know these oils work. So as we're in the Instacare in the middle of the night, They did a breathing treatment on him and sent me home with a steroid prescription. And they said that when you have croup, the chest is usually clear and the throat is inflamed and kind of closing off. And he said that word inflamed, and I realized, oh my word, I'm using the wrong oil in the wrong place. So I came home and I took the prescription, but didn't plan to fill it, used frankincense right here on the throat, repeatedly throughout the day, 3 times a day, and he was great and he was fine. And going forward, I knew exactly what to do for him. Now, that being said, my neighbor, when her little ones get croup, the frankincense is not the magic trick for them. So again, different bodies, different things going on, and those things you'll learn over time. So rather than feel like, oh no, like if it could be anything and this may or may not work, you go with the norms, because 80% of the time that is going to work, right? The Digest Zen, massive digestive support. So that's a really great go-to. And then you're going to pull out your green book and, you know, add or try other supports. So I hope that this sheds a little bit of light and gives you some ideas of what you can do to just work to find the right solutions. And once you find them, wow, right? Wow. So I love these oils, and I love the results that we've had, the support that we have felt, and the empowerment that's taken place in our home. So thanks guys for letting me share.